Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello learners, welcome back to the course on AI in Human Resource Management. We are traveling through the last module and we were looking into company culture. If you have gone through the previous lecture, you would see that we have introduced you to what is company culture, what is the relevance of that, what is AI doing with respect to the company culture, and the last module being more practice oriented, and I would want you to have a real-time industry exposure. We have introduced you to some typical tools that are running. So following the same pitch, we will try to give you more insights into some more tools, some more practical orientation with respect to what is specifically happening with respect to AI, what are the general technologies that have developed and what are tools with respect to that are functioning well in terms of human resource management. I'm Dr. Abraham Cyril Issac. I'm an assistant professor at the School of Business, Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati. So in this particular lecture, we'll look into specifically what do you mean by AI in company culture, specifically the advantages of that, specifically the challenges associated the moment AI comes into picture. We'll also look into one particular tool which has taken over most of the organizations with respect to its prevalence in having a positive note towards company culture. We'll also have a part 2 of this particular lecture. We'll be looking into some focus tools again, which again I will try to give you a certain dimension to that. You can explore with them in further your avenues and with your options with respect to further possibilities. You can explore with those tools later, but today I would like to give you some insight into adopting AI in managing the company culture. For that, we have to clearly understand what are the significant advantages we get when we are talking about AI in company culture, and also what are the challenges before we move into real-time tools which actually enhance the company culture. So let's look into the advantages of adopting AI in managing company culture first. So when we are talking about the company culture per se and the advantages of adopting AI in managing company culture, we have to start with the understanding of enhanced efficiency and productivity. So we look into AI, it streamlines repetitive tasks, allowing employees to focus on higher value work, which improves job satisfaction and can foster a positive culture centered around meaningful work. If I take an example, let's say automating data entry. When you are looking into such aspect of data entry, the automation becomes quite streamlined. Or let's say scheduling or routine inquiries that can free employees to engage more creatively, something which we have tried to emphasize over the previous modules. Promoting a sense of accomplishment. So all these aspects typically enhances the efficiency and the productivity without doubt. When we look into the advantages, we also see that there are certain data-driven insights for better decision-making that can come up. AI can analyze large volumes of data to offer insights into employee engagement, into employee satisfaction, or even to something as drastic as turnover trends. So this particularly allows the leaders to make informed decisions that directly impact the workplace culture. So maybe if we are using a method like sentiment analysis, for instance, AI can help managers understand the team morale or even spot issues before they become even problematic. So that would be another thing to look at when we are discussing the advantages of adopting AI in managing company culture. Another such significant factor would be definitely the personalized learning and development, a point which again gains momentum in all the modules. So AI enables personalized training programs based on individual skill gaps, which helps employees grow in roles that suit their strengths, their goals, etc. So this typically fosters a culture of continuous learning and development. So when you are looking into personalized learning and development, again, we are coming up with a new course not on training and development, but specifically on learning and development in the NPTEL platform itself. But when we talk about personalizing this learning and development, AI plays a very significant role, which we have seen in the previous module. When you are looking into advantages of adopting AI, we also have to acknowledge improved communication and collaboration. AI tools can facilitate communication by translating languages, by automating the meeting summaries and suggesting collaboration opportunities across the departments, helping create an inclusive, connected workplace. We also tend to see that there could be objective performance evaluation, and as a result of this objectivity, we can have a reduced bias. So by using AI to standardize performance metrics, companies can reduce the likelihood of biases in reviews, promoting fairness and consistency typically. So basically, when you are looking into the objectivity of performance evaluation, there can be a clear-cut understanding with respect to what advantages AI can actually bring in terms of company culture. So this can lead to a culture that values merit and transparency, which strengthens the trust and morale among the employees, to say the least. Now, let's look into the challenges of adopting AI in managing company culture. We look into the challenges. We have to first acknowledge the problem that is pertinent, which is data privacy and ethical concern. Please note, AI tools collect and analyze vast amount of data, employee data, raising all the privacy concerns and ethical issues related. So, if not managed carefully, this can lead to mistrust and a sense of, what I can call it as a sense of surveillance among employees. So ensuring data privacy, data transparency, and adhering to privacy regulations is crucial, is vital to maintain a culture of trust. We also see that there could be a possibility of employee resistance. In the previous module, we have already addressed, so I'm not going to take much time here. A common concern is that AI might replace jobs, leading to apprehension among employees. This fear can actually foster resistance. It can foster negativity, or if I can paraphrase it as negatively affecting morale and creating an atmosphere of uncertainty. So this uncertainty can actually create problems. Overcoming this requires clear communication from the management, from the leaders, emphasizing that AI is meant to augment rather than mere replacement of human roles. Another significant challenge, if you look into the AI part in managing company culture, would be the risk of over-reliance on technology. Now, an over-dependence on AI, especially we are looking into DeepSeek and things which are coming in a much superior way, and most of the US infrastructure is a bit threatened because of the DeepSeek and such improved prospects of let's say the AI and specifically the new algorithms. So when you're looking into an over dependence on AI for managing cultural and interpersonal aspects, it can depersonalize work relationships. So culture is inherently human, and some aspects of it may be difficult to capture and manage with AI alone. So balancing AI with genuine human interaction is essential to prevent a disconnect from the core company values specifically. We also see that there could be some typical bias in AI algorithms, a point which I tried to underscore in the previous modules also. So AI systems can if you ask me, inadvertently reinforce the biases present in the data they are trained on. So leading to a very unfair outcome, maybe in terms of hiring or maybe in terms of performance evaluations and even promotions for that case. So to maintain a fair workplace, it's vital, it's essential to regularly review and audit the AI tools for any unintended biases. So when you look into the challenges, we also tend to understand the need for ongoing training and adaptability. At one hand, we have the resistance towards technology. On the other hand, we have the need for ongoing training and adaptability. Quite a paradox in itself. But needless to say, integrating AI requires significant upskilling and adaptation for employees to effectively leverage these tools. So without proper training, trust me, employees may feel overwhelmed, leading to frustration and disengagement. So to a certain extent, the interest you have shown in this particular course, the large number of enrollments that have typically come to this course is also a consequence somewhere, directly or indirectly, of this particular need for ongoing training and adaptability. So organizations must commit to continuous training and support, fostering a culture of adaptability and growth. And finally, if you look into the challenges of adopting AI in managing company culture, you cannot close this chapter without discussing on the investment cost and the ROI uncertainty. See, implementing AI solutions involves substantial costs. There is no denying the fact. It includes technology training, it includes infrastructure upgrades. So without a clear understanding of how AI will benefit the culture, it can be challenging to justify this particular investment. So leaders need to weigh these costs against expected outcomes and ensure there's a well-defined strategy for integrating AI in a way that aligns with the company's cultural goals. Now let's look into the readiness. How to determine culture's readiness for AI. When you're looking into all the factors, by evaluating these factors, leaders can better understand their culture's readiness for AI. So it identifies the strengths to build upon and the areas that they may require additional focus or support. So this typical approach, determining the culture readiness, enables a smoother transition and sets the foundation for successful AI integration aligned with the company values. So it can vary from organization to organization, but to a certain extent that sync, that convergence with respect to the company value is essential. Now let's look into the culture readiness. Let's start with assessing the past reactions to change. When we talked about resistance to change, we saw that it emerged as a persistent and a pertinent barrier or challenge in actually bringing AI into company's culture. But let's see how we can assess the past reactions to change. We can definitely review the previous initiatives, begin by analyzing how the company has handled previous changes, identify any cultural issues that arose and the strategies used by the typical leadership to address them. So consider if these initiatives were ultimately successful or if they faced resistance due to specific cultural challenges. Another significant aspect could be learning from the past, understanding the dynamics that helps in anticipating how employees may react to AI and informs approaches that can actually improve acceptance. We also see that there is a possibility with respect to gauging interest in innovation. When you're talking about innovation specifically and the related employee enthusiasm, we see that determine the level of enthusiasm within the company for innovation. So let's ask a question. Are employees generally receptive to new ideas? You can ask within your organization, or maybe you can also look into a different perspective. Is there reluctance to deviate from established process? So typically, if you ask me these two questions, that is one, are employees generally receptive to new ideas? Question number one. Or question number two, is there reluctance to deviate from the established process? These two actually can give you an understanding of what do you say or can gauge about the employee enthusiasm within the organization. There could be also encouragement towards risk taking, companies with a culture that values measured risks and experimentation are typically more prepared to adopt AI, as employees are, more likely to engage with and embrace the technology. When we look into the probability to determine the culture readiness for AI, we have to also look into the purpose part, clarifying the purpose of AI in the organization. Let's say we have to communicate the AI's role. Leaders should define and communicate how they envision AI being used within the organization. So, this particular clarity with communication helps remove doubt, if any, fear, if any, ensuring employees understand AI as a supportive tool that aligns with the organization goals and values. You can also think of developing an AI policy altogether, a clear approach and policy regarding AI use, establish best practices and standards which can alleviate concerns about AI's role and foster alignment with company's culture. Another significant factor with respect to determining the culture's readiness would be establishing and building trust. You have to evaluate the trust levels. How do you do that? Trust between leaders and employees is fundamental for implementing change, and there is no doubt about that. Leaders need to assess if there is a mutual trust where employees feel supported in taking risks and if they believe leadership has their best interests in mind. There can be also a significant attempt to model the transparency. Building trust starts with transparency, there is no doubt about it. Leaders should openly discuss both the benefits and potential challenges with respect to AI or what AI can bring in, which can actually reinforce trust and set a positive tone for AI's role in the company. So this also could be another way to go ahead when you are looking into establishing and building trust. Another significant factor would be the commitment to effective change. What do you mean by that? We have to plan for structured implementation. When you're talking about effective change management, including clear and timely communication, targeted learning opportunities and channels for feedback is critical to ensuring a smooth transition to AI. So, emphasizing consistency and empowerment, specifically a culture that empowers employees through, let's say, transparency, through education, through engagement, is more likely to successfully adopt AI. Leaders is more likely to successfully adopt the artificial intelligence. We also can understand that leaders should typically work to cultivate an environment where employees feel enabled and supported during the transition. Now, let's look into the areas of adopting AI in company culture. How we can actually look into empowering employees through AI augmentation, and it is not about replacement. The first and the foremost thing I would like to discuss here would be shifting the mindsets. Leaders must help employees understand that AI is a tool to enhance their work, not replace them. For instance, let's look into an example. Employees should see AI as a support for efficiency, allowing them to tackle creative strategic tasks, a point which we try to emphasize in many of the previous classes. Examples in practice, let's say by implementing AI for routine tasks like, let's say, data entry or scheduling, companies enable employees to focus on high value work, thereby fostering job satisfaction and reducing the typical burnout that otherwise sets in. Another significant aspect could be, preparing for cultural shifts. We talk about cultural readiness. Before adopting AI, it's vital, it's critical to assess the company's openness to innovation and sincerely the past receptivity to change. This is vital when you're talking about readiness part. The receptivity angle. What was the past receptivity to change? If that was significantly low, then you have greater work to do. So organizations need a culture that encourages curiosity, that encourages resilience, that encourages adaptability. We also have to look into situations where we have to build trust and transparency. So transparency about artificial intelligence, the role of that, the potential, all these things are vital. So leaders can promote trust by clearly communicating how artificial intelligence aligns with the organization's vision and by engaging employees in the planning process rather than to keep them in the dark. We also can see this from a promoting continuous learning and development angle. When you're looking into upskilling for AI, please note adopting AI requires new skills across all roles. So offering targeted training helps employees grow alongside the AI technology, turning the shift into a learning opportunity rather than a disruptive change. Another significant aspect when you look into the learning and development aspect would be supporting development pathways. You look into companies that can enhance culture by fostering a learning centric environment, providing courses or workshops that improve employees' technical skills while emphasizing how AI can benefit their specific roles altogether. We also see that there could be a possibility of fostering a culture of curiosity and experimentation. You look into the possibility of encouraging experimentation. An experimental mindset certainly helps the teams to adapt to AI technology. Leaders should actually encourage these employees to test the AI's capabilities, providing a safe space for learning and innovation altogether. We also see that there could be a possibility of iterative improvements. What do you mean by that? Create a system where feedback is welcomed, allow for continuous improvement as teams learn from both successes and challenges in AI implementation. So this iterative improvement is a must, is critical for fostering a culture of curiosity and experimentation. When we look into other areas of adopting AI in company culture, we have to also acknowledge and appreciate the relevance and the importance of maintaining open communication. Many a time, frequent updates are not provided. So regular discussions about AI integration can reduce employee apprehension and promote a culture of transparency. For example, sharing success stories or explaining how AI is helping other departments may actually typically alleviate the fears. Or sometimes, collaborative implementation, engaging employees early in the AI adoption process makes the transition collaborative rather than, mere top-down approach, helping to reduce the resistance. We also see that AI can emerge as a tool for enhancing collaboration and team morale. Specifically, we are interested in enhancing the team dynamics angle. You look into AI. When AI is used to support collaboration, such as optimizing project timelines or providing insights, it can strengthen team cohesion and morale. We can also look into process where we are trying to improve the decision making. AI can analyze data to offer actionable insights, supporting better team-based decision making. For instance, a team might use AI to review project data and predict potential roadblocks, fostering a typical proactive culture. We can also look into situations where we are championing innovation and adaptability specifically. You look into leadership as a catalyst. Leaders who actively support AI integration set a positive example, encouraging teams to embrace change. So visible enthusiasm from leadership can typically drive broader acceptance and inspire creative applications of AI. We also see this adaptability specifically as a core competency. Establishing adaptability as a foundational skill helps the team to stay resilient. Companies that set up dedicated AI task forces or let's say innovation teams typically demonstrate this adaptability, which helps build a forward-thinking culture to a great extent. Now let's look into some of the AI tools specifically used to enhance the company culture. A typical practical perspective I would like to give. Specifically, we had some discussions with respect to some theories till now. So we will specifically go into some critical tools that are used to enhance the company culture. These are some of the platforms that already exist, but how typically some level of technology is being brought in by which you are seeing a lot of improvement, maybe in terms of sales, maybe in terms of footfalls, maybe in terms of the increased top line, maybe in terms of revenue generated, maybe in terms of the efficiency and productivity of individual per se and the organization in toto. So all these aspects will try to understand with some relevant tools that are used to enhance the company culture. So we'll specifically look into these cases in detail. So when you are looking into these AI tools that are used to enhance the company culture, we'll start with the UI path, the central one, where we are understanding, where we try to understand what typically UI path is. UI path is a leading RPA. We have discussed RPA in the previous module, so I'm not detailing on that. Robotic process automation software that helps automate repetitive tasks, data entry, and other routine processes. So typically what happens is that it allows employees to focus on more valuable creative tasks by handling the monotonous ones, something which we have already discussed in greater detail. We also have typical PandaDoc. PandaDoc is an AI-driven document automation platform that streamlines the creation, the delivery, and even the e-signature of documents. It could be, let's say, something like invoices, or let's say some contracts. So all these typical documents, we can have anything from creation, from delivery to e-signature. So it can significantly improve efficiency in sales and contract management specifically. Then we have the dark trace. When you're looking into dark trace, it offers AI-driven cybersecurity solutions that uses ML to detect and respond to threats in real time. So it can help protect your network and data from cyber attacks and internal threats. We also have seen Vectra AI, and if you look into Vectra AI, it specializes in AI-driven threat detection and response for cloud, data center, and enterprise networks. So it helps identify and respond to cyber threats and unusual network behavior. Then we have the Coursera's AI for everyone. I hope most of you would be definitely aware about Coursera, but Coursera offers a course titled AI for Everyone by Andrew Ng, which is designed for non-technical professionals. So it provides a broad understanding of AI concepts and their business applications. So typically informative session like what we are doing right now. We also have other significant aspects which are related to company culture, which is Greenhouse. Greenhouse is an applicant tracking system specifically that integrates with AI powered tools for sourcing and candidate assessment. So we get a real-time clear understanding about the candidate before even he ventures into the selection process. So it typically streamlines the hiring process and helps the HR teams make data-driven decisions. Then we also had a significant discussion on Textio. If you remember in the early modules, Textio is an AI-driven writing assistant that helps HR professionals create the job descriptions and communication that attract diverse candidates. So whatever are the tasks, the duties, the responsibilities, all these things get aligned and can be written in a professional manner. So it uses language analysis to reduce bias and increase the inclusivity. Then we have the popular HireVue. HireVue uses AI for video interviewing and assessment. As we have seen, it analyzes candidate responses and body language to help identify the best fit for a role. We also have Ginger. Ginger is an AI-powered mental health platform that provides on-demand emotional support to employees. So it offers therapy through chat-based conversations and can typically help identify the signs of stress, signs of burnout, etc. Then we have the Optimity. Optimity uses AI to analyze employee health data and provide typical recommendations for stress management and well-being. So it offers personalized wellness programs and can track employees' progress altogether. So when you talk about this AI tool specifically, again the same word of caution. There are many. It has significant cost associated with them. So look into your organization, look into your profile and portfolio. What is your requirement? Based on that, you can definitely go for one. And also, if you tend to get time, I would definitely urge you to go and explore more such options, because you have the free or demo versions also available. So there is no harm. You can always explore with respect to different options. We have certain limitation with respect to the paucity of time, where we cannot go with each and every tool, but we'll try to at least try to decipher one tool in greater detail, and for that we look into Greenhouse. Now, Greenhouse, the platform looks something like this. We have to log into Greenhouse and from main dashboard, select the job that you typically want to review. So basically, you are looking into the dashboard, the first initial dashboard. So what happens is under the pipeline, you will see resume to screen, and next to it you have a typical review button. So all these aspects are typically given with respect to the review process. So you can review applications. So you look into the dashboard, there are different tabs with respect to sourcing, candidates, approvals, reports, job setup, etc. We also typically require this for the reviewer part. So we go for the review, and that can be obtained with respect to the referral input also. We also see that you can see the name of the applicant, his or her details, credentials, answers to the questions asked, and any attached documents. So let's say you are indeed being questioned with respect to the different aspects, like how did you hear about the job, or something like, are you 18 years or older, do you have a high school diploma? So all these questions can be answered. You can have a attachment for your resume. So it's typically hiring initiation that is going on. And with respect to this dashboard, you can also see that what is your progress, with respect to the application. You can have definite input that is available with respect to that at this end of the corner. Then we look into the next screen to take action. And to take action on the candidate, you can see use on the three options. Let's say advance to next stage, you can, or leave in application, review and reject. So all these possibilities are, again, as I mentioned there. So you can definitely think of this as a platform which can give you everything with respect to review at one single screenshot. You can also leave a comment, let's say tag other people or whoever is using Greenhouse to check or review the comment. So Greenhouse will typically send an email to the tagged people, or what are the comments given. Once you are done, then you can close the application. So again, you have a feedback being collected here. So all of it happens in a single platform. That's the beauty of this. Now when you look into this resume screening, one aspect could be click on resumes to screen. It will put up the list of candidates to typically screen and the name of the candidate specifically. It will take you to that particular application, and you can have a clear understanding of what your candidate is. Something, it looks like this. You can have a detailed understanding of who all have applied or are available in the database with respect to the application in the present day scenario. You can definitely collect feedback in resumes to screen. You have a typical numbering, you can filter them out. You can use some of the most typical filtering, where sometimes you would have screened some of the applicants. Next time you are logging in, you can actually avoid those applications. You can directly go to the ones that are left. So typically this gives a detailed understanding of the people whom you want to actually look into. We also see that after reviewing the candidate, you can either click move to another stage or reject the candidate, because that is the progress you are making here. You can also make a note as you did before, and maybe tag people. Let's say you want to have a more detailed information or more detailed understanding, so you can put some filters or tag people. Something like that can be done with respect to the entire profile screening which is happening now. Then you can choose which stage you want to move the particular candidate to by selecting the options provided. Let's say you want the particular candidate to be invited to the job fair, or to maybe on-site interview, or maybe reschedule interview no-show. All the possibilities are given here, and accordingly you can select the options what you want the candidate to do or candidate to be undertaken for. So then you look into the next screen. If you choose to reject the candidate, you have to give the following details specifically. You can edit and send it to the candidate as an email, but you have to definitely give a rejection reason. What could be the rejection justification? A note can be added. Again, from this platform itself, you can actually schedule an email, or maybe not send, but you can definitely go for an email option as well from this end. So needless to send a different email, it is all integrated into one, which makes your job easier. Most of the time, let's say people who are attending to this particular course, definitely they would have seen or got the rejection mails, and definitely they would have some tailor-made responses. Like it is interesting to see that you applied, but let's say you did not fit the requirement, or sometimes they'll say that we had better candidates, or we screened a lot of candidates, so there were more in number, so we had to select a smaller pool. So whatever is the actual conclusion you can or you have to make, you can make that and send the rejection mail at the earlier. So basically all those things are integrated into one form, and that is the typical beauty of this entire platform. So this was one such demo of one such platform, Greenhouse. As I mentioned, there are a lot of significant tools that have actually merged into or embedded into the human resource management work altogether nowadays. You have to decide what is your requirement. Based on your requirement, you have to choose which is the right tool. Again, I will definitely encourage you all to go and look into all the options which I've said. There are some free versions. You can definitely look into it. You can have a detailed understanding of what is typically happening with respect to this, what are the different factors that are embedded, so that you can actually, like what we see in the Greenhouse, you can directly, once the review is done, you can directly shoot an email. Maybe it's a rejection, maybe it's selection, whatever the case be. You can directly have that integration. So what is your requirement? What is your organization's requirement? Based on that, you can definitely select the tool. So when you're talking about AI in human resource management, typically a lot of factors which actually the technology is contributing nowadays. We are just looking into a few. Again, within the scope of the syllabus, I'm trying to give you more and more of practical insights. So this is one such session. We'll come up with a part 2 shortly, where we'll be looking into more of these tools, and I will try to detail on some of these tools where you can actually see how HRM is again being facilitated or helped by AI. Thank you for listening to me patiently. We'll see you in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.